There have been a lot of disappointing superstars and their teams in NBA history, and Kawhi Leonard, I believe, is one of them. And this can especially be seen with guys like Stephen A. Smith calling him the worst superstar in NBA history. While that might be an exaggeration, it is safe to say that Kawhi Leonard's tenure with the Clippers has been nothing short of a disappointment. And today we're going to see how this happened. This whole saga with the Clippers started in 2019 summer, when we had the craziest free agency in realistically the century, maybe ever. I mean, we had LeBron and AD teaming up on the Lakers, with AD coming to LA. Obviously, that was a trade. Kevin Durant and Kyrie teamed up on the Nets to make kind of this big two in Brooklyn. We had Westbrook joining James Harden on the Rockets in a trade, I believe. And then Jimmy Butler joining the Heat, and so many more. And Kawhi, he had several few options. He could have stayed on the defending champ Raptors. They look great. They look like they could have had another championship run. And we saw that the very same year when they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Celtics. They were a legitimate, or second round, sorry. And they were a legitimate team. And if they had Kawhi on there, who knows how good they could have been. Not only that, he could have joined LeBron and AD to form a devastating big three on the Lakers. And I don't know how they would have wrapped the team around them. There's no doubt in my mind that says when you have three, at that time, top 5 players in the NBA, all of them being two-way players, playmaker in LeBron, rim presence and roller and big in AD, and two-way get-out-of-my-way dog in Kawhi, they easily could have won a ring that year and won several more after. But no, he chose to go to the Clippers and bring PG-13 with him. This, in the moment, was like okay, he didn't want the easy ring with the Lakers. He really didn't want to stay in Canada. He's going to LA. He wants to bring glory to the Clippers. It all looked good. But now we know in hindsight, it was not the right choice. This started the avalanche that is this failure of a tenure with the Clippers. In the Clippers' first year, that same year he joined them, they were the 2 seed in the West. They looked great. People were calling Kawhi the best player in the world over LeBron and Giannis, and it was his place to lose. And they go in the second round and they blow a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets in the bubble. And that was a sign of things to come. Kawhi didn't play well those last few games. The Clippers had the lead in almost every single game of those last couple games, and they blew it every single time. The next year, they were on a good run, but Kawhi got injured, if you remember. And Paul George managed to get them to the conference finals where they lost to the Suns, and the Bucks ended up winning. And that was the only real true run they ever had. And this is 2021, mind you. Because think about it. After that, the Clippers lost in the play-in without Kawhi because Kawhi was injured for the entire season. So the injury bug with the Clippers has already started. Then the next year, they lost to the Suns. Kawhi was in and out. He was playing lights out in the playoffs. No one at this point was ever doubting Kawhi's ability. And in the Suns series, when the Clippers were like, we might be able to actually do something against this KD Suns, he got injured. Suns win. Okay. What happened next year? Kawhi Leonard played actually quite a few games, and then near the end, what happened of the season? He got injured. And in the Mavericks series, he was hobbled. He averaged a joke of a series. I think it was sub 20 points, inefficient. This was a time where he was I remember there was a play. He dunked the ball and then slowly hovered down because he knew he wasn't proper as far as his knees and his legs. I mean, it's just, and this is where all these allegations started of him not being present, him not being available. And I mean, as I mentioned before, Stephen A. Smith at this point was already calling him the worst superstar because off the court, he's never looking like a leader. That foreshadows what's happened recently, but we'll get to that. And then Clippers, they lost to the Nuggets last year without Kawhi being particularly great. I mean, he was fine, but nothing great. And now, when you look at Kawhi at that point, and even at that point and even now, and you say, he isn't playing Kawhi Leonard level, and he's barely available. Is he even a superstar anymore? I don't think anyone would call him a true superstar anymore. He has that aura, so to speak, but he hasn't proved to be like that. And then we move on to this season. The Clippers. They are one of the bottom teams in the NBA. Not the Western Conference only, the NBA. And guess who doesn't have their pick? The Clippers. Who has it? The Thunder. They are catastrophically losing this league the opportunity to beat the Thunder and stop them from having a God squad. And James Harden is trying to stop it from happening, but they just can't do anything. And it is really bad because not only has Kawhi been part of this because he's not able to stay healthy and bring anything proper as far as playoff success goes besides those first couple years, then you have the entire scandal, which is icing on the cake, with the whole aspiration and Steve Ballmer controversy, with him getting paid under the table. I mean, and Kawhi, he's basically just been silent the whole time besides a couple measly interviews. I mean, he has never actually shown to be that corraller leader of the troops, which we've seen in so many locker room problems where it's Kawhi just doesn't really do much. He's not the guy to lead your team from a emotional level. And as far as being on the court, we saw in the Raptors, we gave him the flack of, okay, he may not be the leader of the team, but when he's on the court, he dominates. He doesn't do that anymore, and he's not on the court. So what are we supposed to do with him anymore? And then, not only to add this, Chris Paul and the Clippers sending him home, it just makes the Clippers look even worse. And this isn't necessarily a Kawhi problem, but I mean, Chris Paul was the only person trying to be an actual leader there. Whose fault is that? Partly Kawhi Leonard. Why isn't he being the leader? Because he never does that. And in the Clippers, if you're trying to take the crown of the league and bring the glory to the Clippers, you can't do it this way. You can't compete with the Lakers by just being that I show up to work and hopefully I show up to work and sometimes hoop. It's not going to work. Ultimately, it just boils down to the few times in the playoffs Kawhi has been able to play for the Clippers. He's usually been great, especially earlier on, like 4 or 5 years ago. But his availability is lackluster and has much to be desired. And the belief that when he's actually on the court, he dominates, it's dwindling. I mean, can you honestly tell me, if the Clippers make the playoffs, as we saw last year, for example, you think Kawhi Leonard's going to have that series where he's averaging 32? He's not clamping the way he used to. And we're not necessarily expecting him to, but he's not the same Kawhi Leonard he was before, so you can't give him benefit of the doubt of if he's on the court, who knows? We see him on the court. We know. It's not what it used to be. And so when we look at the Clippers, who not only do they not have their own pick, but they're terrible, and they're giving it to the Thunder to let them have a God squad, they have failed the NBA, plain and simple. And they have a new arena, which Steve Ballmer I believe that's why Steve Ballmer is not blowing the team up, partly, is because we want to compete with the Lakers. I'm richest owner in the league. I want to have a great team. And the star that you're building it all around isn't available and doesn't play the way he used to. Kawhi Leonard has failed the Clippers, and I don't know the direction that they should go from here. Do you sell it all? But if you do, you're not getting that pick back. So at the very least, you want to wait another year. Thing is, though, even if you wait another year, are they proving to be any better this year? What if they just ride out this team that's garbage, give the Thunder the first overall pick, second overall pick, and they're just back to square one where they are at the start of the year? I don't know what the Clippers do, and ultimately speaking, the Kawhi Leonard experience has completely failed. And of course, it's not all to blame on Kawhi, but he hasn't done anything to help his case. Great player, great all-time legend, but ultimately speaking, he did not do what he set out to do in Los Angeles. Thank you for listening. Leave a sub, drop a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys later.